On the news tonight, slow sales hit Kano livestock markets ahead of Sallah. Boko Haram attacked 2 military bases in Borno State. Representatives seek to end immunity for vice president and governors. Sudanese army retakes Khartoum airport and circles RSF stronghold. Hello and welcome to News Hour. I am Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. With Sallah just days away, livestock markets across Kano are witnessing slow or low patronage, while prices are lower than last year due to improved feed availability. Many residents still struggle with affordability. TOS TV's Abdul Aziz Ibrahim reports.
As the Sallah celebration approaches, the demand for livestock, especially chickens, is on the rise. Here at this street side market known for selling local chicken species, traders say prices are lower compared to last year. For over 44 years we've been selling local chickens here. Last year prices were very high because poultry feed of course was scarce. But this year feed is more available, so prices have dropped. This guinea fowl costs just 8,000 naira, while this is now 4,000 naira, but last year it went for about 5,500 naira. The larger fowl is 5,000 naira, but it was 6,000 naira or even more previously. The story is the same at other markets where different breeds of chickens are sold. Last year, poultry farmers struggled with high feed costs due to maize scarcity, pushing prices of a large fowl to above 15,000 naira. This year, with feed availability improving, traders say the same chicken now sells for about 8,500 naira. Feed prices really affected us last year, but now the cost has reduced, so we are selling at better prices. These can go for 8,000 naira, but last year we couldn't even get them to buy from the farmers. However, despite the drop in prices, some residents say low purchasing power is still a challenge.
Honestly, things are very expensive. They are just too very expensive. As in, there you can get a chicken. The one I bought now I bought it, 2 of it for like 17,000. At first it said 20,000 naira. So I have to like price it. So you leave it for me to buy it for 17,000 naira. So what can one say? Because they know all what is happening. They know the masses are suffering. Honestly, they know everything. So we just need God intervention on all the things that are going on.
With less than a week to Sallah, traders expect prices to rise as demand increases, but the question remains, will buyers be able to afford them? Abdulaziz Ibrahim, TOS TV News, Kano.
More on Ramadan. As it ends, efforts are intensifying to educate women about their vital role in family relationships and the connection to mental health. A Muslim cleric, Zuwairiya Usman, during a Ramadan lecture, urged men to provide consistent encouragement and moral support to women, recognizing their significant impact on societal growth. The report.
Usman pointed out that women are disproportionately affected by mental health issues, hence the need for men to stand by them as they seek solutions to the challenge.
Why this topic really prompted me to talk about it is because of the way women have been died in silence. We've been having series of problems occurring from one end to another. At the end of the day, we don't even know the problem is being involved, is concerning us. So most of the time you find a problem with men, you don't even know, with women, with children. The society is just going up and down without us knowing. If we didn't come out to kind of express what these problems are all about, at the end of the day, we end up dying in silence.
This was supported by contribution from various women who collectively emphasized the necessity for guidance and care to navigate domestic challenges.
Mental health is a critical issue that is happening within us without us knowing that we have it. It's an issue that aspect in our social, economic, and psychological well-being. It mainly causes by depression and anxiety. A person may be depressed without him knowing. You may have anxiety without you knowing.
There are so many issues of this stresses or something you keep in your mind for long. Then if your husband is saying something to you, you keep it inside your mind for long. It can make you to have stress or mental feeling towards this issue. So what my advice is that if some things should happen, please, we should try and understand each other. Whatever we are going to do in life, let us put God first. So if your wife hurt you in some ways, just call her immediately.
So these are the kind of things that is happening around us, and a lot of people are depressed. Even the situation in Nigeria today is affecting our mental health. Either we like it or we don't like it. A lot of things is happening around us and it's affecting us.
Expert further noted that underrepresentation of women in mental health discussions, despite their large numbers, stressing the urgent need for increased awareness.
The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja on Tuesday set aside actions previously delivered against the reinstatement of Muhammadu Sanusi II as the 16th Emir of Kano. Subsequently, the appellate court, upon acknowledging the transmission of the case records to the Supreme Court, directed all interested parties to exercise caution pending the hearing of their appeals at the Apex Court. In an unanimous ruling delivered by a three-member panel of justices, presided over by Justice Biobele Ibrahim George Will, the court accepted the withdrawal of the application filed by the Kano State government following the transmission of the records of appeal to the Supreme Court. During the resumed hearing on the enforcement of its earlier orders, counsel for the Kano State government, Ibrahim Wangida, informed the court of a notice of appeal filed against the stay of execution issued on Friday, March the 14th, 2025. Wangida stated that all necessary legal steps had been taken, including the transmission of the appeal records to the Supreme Court. The House of Representatives has passed for second reading a bill seeking to amend the 1999 Constitution to limit presidential immunity and remove immunity for the Vice President, governors and their deputies to enhance accountability in public office. The bill, sponsored by Representative Solomon Bob, aims to curb corruption and impunity. The report.
It was among 42 constitutional amendment bills passed for second reading, covering devolution of powers, institutional strengthening, state creation, traditional institutions, fundamental rights, and local government. The House also advanced the bill mandating public disclosure of audit reports at federal and state levels. Another bill proposing for the separation of the offices of Attorney General and Minister/Commissioner of Justice also passed second reading. Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, who presided over the session, put the bills to a voice vote, with lawmakers overwhelmingly supporting them. The bills were referred to the House Committee on Constitutional Review for further consideration.
The ayes have it. The clerk is invited to read the long titles of these bills.
A bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to qualify immunity conferred on the President, remove the immunity conferred on the Vice President, the governors, and their deputies in order to curb corruption, eradicate impunity, and enhance accountability in public office and for related matters. Second reading.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has resolved to probe Sukuk-backed road projects valued at 1.24 trillion naira raised over the past 7 years from 2017 to 2024. This followed the motion of urgent public importance sponsored by Nasarawa lawmaker Jonathan Bifwe. Recall that the federal government has since 2017, through the Debt Management Office DMO, raised over 1.1 trillion naira via 6 sovereign sukuk insurances to finance 124 federal road projects spanning 5,820 kilometers across the country's 6 geopolitical zones. Data from the Securities and Exchange Commission as of December 2024 put the total at approximately $657.6 million at current exchange rates. The breakdown includes the 100 billion naira at 2017, 100 billion naira at 2018, 162.56 billion naira at 2020, 250 billion naira for 2021, 130 billion naira for 2022, and 350 billion naira for 2023, with an additional 150 billion naira issued in October 2023, bringing the cumulative total to 1.24 trillion naira. pending official confirmation. Briefly, expressed concern that despite this investment, Nigeria's road infrastructure remains in poor condition, with over 70% of the 200,000-kilometer road network still unpaved, according to S&P Global Ratings of January 2024. The House then mandated its Committee on Works to conduct a forensic probe into the allocation, expenditure, and outcomes of the Sukuk funds, identifying any instances of diversion, inflation, or contractor non-compliance.
The House observes that despite this significant investment, Nigeria's roads infrastructure remains in a deplorable state, with over 70% of the country's 200,000 kilometers road network still unpaved, as noted by S&P Global Ratings in January 2024.
Meanwhile, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, has commended President Bola Tinubu for signing the Southwest and South-South Development Commission bills into law. Speaking during plenary on Wednesday, Kalu emphasized the importance of mechanisms that drive development to the grassroots.
I'm sure that with the Development Commission, the impact of this administration in its effort to live the mandate of the Renewed Hope agenda will be felt by the grassroots. I thank Mr. President for completing it in the entire geopolitical zones of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
He expressed confidence that these commissions would enhance the administration's impact at the local level across the respective regions.
Governors of states governed by the People's Democratic Party have instituted a suit before the Supreme Court, challenging the 6-month suspension of the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara. Fubara, his Deputy Governor Ngozi Odu, and the Rivers House of Assembly members were suspended for 6 months by President Bola Tinubu after he declared a state of emergency in the state on March 18, 2025, and appointed a sole administrator for the state. Meanwhile, the legislature on its part supported the president's decision to implement the suspension. However, the governors of Bauchi, Adamawa, Bayelsa, Enugu, Osun, Plateau, and Zamfara states questioned the powers the president has to carry out such an action. Mentioned as respondents in the suit are President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the National Assembly. The 7 state governors who described the suspension as unconstitutional through their attorneys general urged the Supreme Court to declare that the president has no powers whatsoever or authority to suspend a democratically elected governor and deputy governor of a state in the Federation of Nigeria under the guise or pursuant to the proclamation of a state of emergency. Meanwhile, Rivers Emancipation Movement warns of protests, urges sole administrator to respect rule of law through the state. The Rivers Emancipation Movement has threatened to stage mass protests if Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, retired, the sole administrator of Rivers State, proceeds with the appointment of local government administrators across the state's 23 local councils. The warning follows reports that Vice Admiral Ibas, retired, may announce the appointment soon, potentially sidelining the allies of the suspended governor.
5 of the 1999 Constitution gives the president the power to suspend and the power to declare a state of emergency, but it does not give him the power to suspend an elected governor. This action is a clear abuse of power, threat to democracy, and a dangerous precedent. The people of Rivers State elected Governor Fubara, and any attempt to remove him must be done through constitutional means. We call on all well-meaning Nigerians to reject this attack on democracy and demand that the president, in his wisdom, reverse the declaration, which is the provision of our constitution, which he swore to uphold. Governor Siminalayi Fubara was unfairly treated. President Tinubu ought to have also sanctioned the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, who has featured prominently and actively in this whole political chaos in the state for the sake of fairness and equity.
The National Independent Electoral Commission, INEC, has confirmed receipt of the contact addresses of representatives of the petitioners, their telephone numbers and email addresses with respect to the petition against Natasha, or rather Senator Natasha. A statement by INEC's National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Sam Olumekun, said the details were contained in a letter addressed to the chairman of the commission dated Wednesday, the 26th March 2025. According to the statement, a letter has been written to notify Senator Natasha about the receipt of the petition and delivered to her official address as provided in Clause 2, subsection A of the Commission's Regulations and Guidelines for the Recall 2024. It added that the same letter has been copied to the presiding officer of the Senate and published on the Commission's website. The next step, the statement added, is to scrutinize the list of signatories submitted by the petitioners to ascertain that the petition is signed by more than one-half, that is, over 50% of the registered voters in the constituency in the coming days. It said the outcome, which will be made public, shall determine the next step to be taken by the Commission. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has said that he does not know if he will contest the presidency in 2027. Atiku made the remark in an interview for a television show on Told Stories with Adesua Giwa Osaki, scheduled for broadcast this Wednesday. The former presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, recently announced the formation of a coalition of opposition leaders to wrest power from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027. However, there has been widespread speculation about who will lead the coalition and emerge as its presidential candidate, with former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi and former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai being considered among its key figures. When asked if he will be running for the presidency in 2027, Atiku said, "I don't know, because there has to be, first of all, a viable platform more than any other time in the political history of the country, particularly since the return of democracy." Atiku, who has run for the presidency a record of 6 times, did not rule out the possibility of contesting again in 2027.
We had a similar, what will I say, merger in 2014. And there were about 4 of us, is it 2 or 3? We all ran for president. And one of us emerged, and we all supported the one who emerged, and he won.
So you're going to run again?
I don't know, because there has to be, first of all, a viable platform, and more than any other time in the political history of this country, particularly since the return of democracy, I have not seen Nigeria in dire need of, an experience and credible leadership than this time.
The Zamfara state government has vowed to eliminate bandits in the state after some of them ambushed the state community protection guards, CPGS, in Anka local government area last Saturday, resulting in 13 fatalities and 15 injuries. The state deputy governor, Mani Mummuni, stated this when he led a high-powered delegation on a sympathy visit to the families of the deceased community protection guards, as well as survivors who are receiving medical attention.
10 of the injured are receiving treatment at Anka General Hospital, while 5 are at the Riemann Bakura Specialist Hospital in Gusau. A separate attack occurred in Adafka community, Bukuyum local government area, on Sunday, claiming 12 lives and leaving 5 others wounded. Anka and Bukuyum local government areas are frontline areas in the fight against banditry. These recent attacks have resulted in a total of 18 deaths and 20 injuries. In response, the Zamfara state government dispatched a high-powered delegation led by Deputy Governor Mani Mummuni, accompanied by Secretary to the state government Abubakar Nakwada, Chief of Staff Mukhtar Luga, and several commissioners. The delegation visited the families of the deceased CPGs in Anka and offered condolences and support to victims' families in Adafka, Bukuyum local government area. A survivor hospitalized at Anka General Hospital recounted the details of the attack. We went to work, and on our way coming back, we engaged in serious fight with them. They were like 100 in numbers. But I thank God I'm responding to treatment. Deputy Governor Mumini reiterated the state government's commitment to eliminating banditry and restoring peace, emphasizing that Governor Dauda Lawal's administration will not negotiate with criminals.
Some of our men, and some of them were killed, or some who are injured, who are inside the town, one of those that died, and we are here in the hospital to see ourselves, to see that bad condition, and we are actually so there.
The chairman of the Zamfara State Council of Chiefs and Emir of Anka expressed gratitude for the government's concern and efforts to restore peace.
Muslims expect them to bear the situation and also to pray to them because we know how they feel. They have been everybody's entitled.
While residents are urging the government to intensify efforts to combat the bandits who continue to disrupt their lives, the Zamfara state government has pledged to persist until peace and security are restored throughout the state.
Sources have confirmed reports that armed Boko Haram terrorists have raided the Wajirko Army formation in Damboa local government area and another formation in Wulugo village, Gamborungala local government area of Borno state. Another source revealed that at least 2 soldiers were feared dead and others injured after the convoy of the newly deployed brigade commander of Operation Hadin Kai in Damboa local government area struck improvised explosive devices planted by suspected terrorists. The explosion occurred along the Maiduguri-Damboa-Biu road. It was also learned that the new brigade commander, name withheld, was among those injured in the attack. The incident comes at a time when the government and security agencies are working to reopen the 185-kilometer Maiduguri-Damboa-Biu road, which has remained unsafe for years for motorists and passengers. Authorities are yet to issue a statement on this incident. The new Commissioner of Police in the Federal Capital Territory, Ajao Wale, has assured FCT residents of impact policing and quality service delivery that guarantees security of lives and property. He gave the assurance when he officially resumed office as the police helmsman in the Federal Capital Territory. Commissioner Wale, accompanied by outgoing Commissioner of Police Olatunji Disu, who is now an AIG, urged the personnel of the FCT Police Command to extend the support and cooperation he enjoyed to the new commissioner to enable him succeed in the task of protecting lives and property in the nation's capital.
Congratulations on your elevation to the rank, a field rank of Assistant Inspector Police. And on behalf of the officers and men of this command, I want to appreciate the positive direction you have taken. I want to assure you that you're free to work into the shoot. When you're in the office, you share good news about us. For the men, I promise them quality leadership. For the residents of Abuja, I assure them of quality service delivery, impact policing, intelligence and proactive in nature. That I assure you. With God on our side, I think we've moved from heights to greater heights. Thank you so much.
This is News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up next, public schools in limbo as teachers in Abuja down tools. We'll have more news when we return. Don't go away. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, you are watching News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. Slow sales hit Kano livestock markets ahead of Sallah, and Boko Haram attacked 2 military bases in Borno State. The federal government has temporarily suspended the implementation of the annual dues imposed on public interest enterprises by the Financial Reporting Council. This followed widespread concerns from industry stakeholders. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Jumoke Oduwole, disclosed the decision at a ministerial consultative meeting on the Financial Reporting Council annual dues for public interest enterprises on Wednesday in Abuja. The meeting was called in response to the numerous official letters the ministry received regarding the issue. Oduwole stated that the suspension follows a series of objections from the organized private sector, particularly the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association and the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, who raised concerns over the Financial Reporting Council Amendment Act 2023. The Nigerian Senate has mandated its Committee on Communications to investigate the recent increase in the cost of data and recommend solutions for a more sustainable and business-friendly telecommunications sector. The Red Chamber also asked the Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy to develop a policy framework for affordable interest in services in Nigeria. These were part of the resolutions after a debate on a bill sponsored by Senator Asuko Ekpeong, which highlights the financial strain the price hike has placed on millions of Nigerians, particularly young persons who rely on affordable internet access for their livelihoods. The report.
Senator Ekpeong had in his motion kicked against the recent increase in the costs of data and other services by telecommunications operators, calling for an urgent review.
The Senate is concerned that fiber optic internet services remain unaffordable for the average young Nigerians, leaving them heavily dependent on mobile telecommunications companies for internet access, and that the sudden and substantial increase in data costs threatens their economic survival and limits access to critical digital services. The Senate is further concerned that the reasons provided by telecom providers for the data price hike include high operational costs, unfavorable exchange rates, are untenable, and appears that instead of addressing the root causes of the high cost of doing business in Nigeria, the burden is being unfairly transferred to end users.
Senators unanimously endorsed the motion at the session, which was presided over by President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio.
When you are suffering on the cost of telecommunication services, you are suffering on the high cost of electricity, you are suffering on the high cost of digital television services. The costs are quite high on Nigerians. And I believe that even the Protection Consumer Commission is not helping out in this matter.
The debate in supporting this motion on the urgent need to address the increased cost of data services in Nigeria. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, much as the high cost of data affects everyone in this country, including my humble self, but I'm particularly interested in this because of the manner it affects the young men who are in larger population in this country, who are the most productive sector. They rely on data to acquire resources that we are not able to provide for them. We can't give them jobs. And they use their creativity to ensure that they get productive.
So this motion, when implemented, will assist particularly our young entrepreneurs, not only to remain in business, but to ensure that they have affordable pricing that will also generate revenue and profits for them. So I thank you for bringing this motion. I thank my colleagues for their contributions and for the amendments done to the prayers. I thank you. So congratulations for this.
The Senate, however, asked the Federal Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy to engage with telecommunications providers to review the data costs and ensure that pricing remains fair and affordable for all Nigerians.
For the fourth time since December, primary school teachers across the FCT have donned tools, throwing thousands of pupils into yet another academic blackout. The teachers, who argued that they are struggling to survive the harsh economy, are protesting the non-implementation of the 70,000 naira minimum wage 8 months after its approval. Trust TV's Ibrahim Ismail reports on the deepening crisis in Nigeria's public sector within the Federal Capital Territory.
8 months after the federal government approved a new minimum wage, FCT's primary school teachers are still waiting for a rise that never came. Over the weekend, the Nigeria Union of Teachers directed members under the Local Education Authority to resume their strike on Monday, March 24, 2025, after FCT Council Chairman failed to implement the new wage in February salaries. The delay is pushing teachers further into financial distress as inflation and the cost of living spiral out of control.
On a daily basis, with my feeding, I spend an average of 5,300 naira daily to go to work and come back. And then so when I was doing the analysis, I discovered that even on transport alone, the whole of my salary will have been gone. My transport and probably just feeding. That's a meal per day. Not to talk of my afternoon and evening. Then have families to take care of, children's school fees, their health. I have relations to take care of. So actually, the life has not been easy with us, the primary school teachers.
While teachers struggle, pupils are paying the ultimate price, missing lessons, losing academic progress, and watching their dreams slip further away. Empty classrooms in a deserted environment. This is the current situation right now at the Besa LEA Primary School in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, and the area councils of the FCT, 6 of them, have over 600 LEA primary schools who are currently on strike.
We have been on strike for more than 3 times, and honestly, it has affected the children seriously, because the children that could read and write, the thing has affected them. Their learning has dropped. As a result, we are as if we are starting afresh. When we call, they are picking up. Before you know it, they are dropped. They asked to go home without their wish, and the thing truly is affecting them in every ramification. Yes. My wish is that if there is something that the government would do to make sure that strike stop, especially in FCT permanently. That is all our pleading. And our wish is, secondly, that the teachers should be paid. They should consider them and treat them well so that they will give their best to these young ones.
They will concentrate on their learning. They will learn. But presently, they are at home playing, following bad friends. Especially when they break, you will not see them. Some of them will be going to riverside. They will be playing in a deep river.
Beyond unpaid salaries, FCT's public schools are crumbling. Overcrowded classrooms, decaying infrastructure, and a severe teacher shortage paint a grim picture of a broken system. But as classrooms remain locked and frustration mounts, time is running out to save what's left of public education. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Ogun State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tommy Koka, on Tuesday declared an outbreak of Lassa fever in the state. Commissioner Koka said that the hemorrhagic viral fever recently claimed the life of a 25-year-old female National Youth Service Corps member who fell sick in Ondo and was brought to one of the state's secondary health facilities at Ijebu North local government area, where she died. The commissioner disclosed this in a statement sent to journalists on Wednesday. She listed the symptoms of the viral fever to include high-grade fever, headache, general body weakness, sore throat, muscle pain, cough, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, chest pain, and unexplained bleeding from ears, eyes, and nose, including the mouth and other body openings. Commissioner Koka urged residents of the state to quickly report anyone with these symptoms to the nearest government health facility for immediate medical attention. The Oyo State Police Command has indicted 17 out of the 59 students arrested in connection with the vandalization of science laboratories equipment at the Christ Apostolic Church Grammar School, Onig Yere, Ibadan, on Thursday. The vandalized equipment are reported to be worth more than 25 million naira. The report.
Following the incident, the Oyo State Police Command raised the alarm over rising cases of gang clashes and court attacks among secondary students in Oyo State. To this end, it has urged parents to take special and keen interest in their wards. Police Commissioner Johnson Adiola gave this advice at the police headquarters Eleyele, Ibadan during a stakeholders meeting with parents of the 17 students who were recently arrested for damaging properties at an educational institution.
We have been having a lot of violence in our secondary schools in the state. There are some that has to do with rape, some is gender-based violence, some is inter-school violence. If you recall, sometimes last week, there was a serious vandalization at Christ Apostolic Church Secondary School at Akweri. And we discovered that Government Technical College is culpable. I was there with the chairman both of it, Adekola. And what I noticed there, people are talking about the environment there. Probably it is the transporter, it is the market. I said, no, that's just about the external environment.
Really surprising because I was surprised at the extent of the rot in our school system. I was surprised at the level of decadence that is being experienced within the schools in Oyo State. I therefore sat down with my management team. We decided to invite all the stakeholders, including the State Commissioner for Education, the chairman, Sukbeb, the principals of the school affected, even the parents. We had a meeting today. The essence of that meeting was to put an end to the menace of gang violence in schools within Ibadan and Oyo State in particular. And interestingly, I heard it's a very recurring event. At the end of every term, whenever these children finish the examination, they go on rampage, attacking each other. At the end of the school days, they go on rampage. We must put an end to it.
The police promised to beam its searchlights on schools across the state with the ultimate aim of drastically reducing the ugliness.
Shops and goods estimated at millions of naira have been destroyed by a night fire that razed a market on the popular Iweka Road close to Ochanja Market in Onitsha, the Anambra State capital. The fire, which started at about 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday, razed shops that had furniture materials such as leather, foams, and others. Although the cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained, it was gathered that the fire raged for several minutes before the arrival of the firefighters, as some of the traders had already gone home before the fire started. Confirming the fire incident on Wednesday, a spokesperson for the Anambra State Fire Service, Chukwudi Chiketa, said the agency received a distress call at about 9:40 p.m. on Wednesday and deployed a crew of firemen and firefighting equipment to the scene. According to Chiketa, the crew stopped the fire from further escalation. As part of efforts towards reducing crime in Delta State, the State Police Command says it has intensified the fight against kidnappings, neutralizing 5 suspected kidnappers, arresting 3 suspects, and recovering a cache of arms and ammunition. The State Police Public Relations Officer, Idafe Bright, who confirmed this in a press statement made available to newsmen on Wednesday, commended personnel for their relentless efforts in combating crime in the state. According to Superintendent Idafe, operatives of the Commissioner of Police Special Assignment Team, CPSAT in Delta State, have recorded a major breakthrough in the fight against kidnapping, neutralizing 5 suspected kidnappers, arresting 3, and recovering a cache of arms and ammunition. Superintendent Idafe said the operation, which followed intelligence, led investigations into a string of kidnappings and armed robberies in the Ughelli North local government area and its environs, was executed on March the 21st at about 11 p.m. He added that during interrogation, the suspects reportedly confessed to their involvement in a series of kidnappings and armed robberies across Iyamoge, Otu, Jeremy, Wari, and Ughelli. Superintendent Idafe added that acting on their confessions, police operatives stormed the Iyamogo forest, where they recovered an AK-47 rifle, a pump-action gun, 3 locally made guns, 2 magazines, 60 rounds of AK-47 live ammunition, and 17 rounds of live cartridges. The Ogun 1 Area Command of the Nigeria Customs Service on Tuesday handed over a total sum of 7 million CFA francs intercepted by its operatives along the Idoroko border route to the Economic Financial Crime Commission. Customs Area Controller for the command, Mohammed Shuaibu, disclosed that the foreign currency stashed in a 5,000 denomination and being smuggled from Nigeria en route the Idoroko border to the neighboring Republic of Benin has a naira value of 17 million naira. Trust TV's Abbas Dalibi now reports.
Comptroller Mohammed Shuaibu handed over the 7 million CFA exhibit to FCC's head of investigation, Lagos Zone 2, at Idiroko, Ogozi Moses, who took custody of the currency at Idiroko in Ipokia local government area of Ogun State for further forensic investigation. Speaking during the handover, Comptroller Shuaibu disclosed that the foreign currency was hidden in a corner, awaiting a yet-to-be-identified courier before it was covered by the service's intelligence operatives at the baggage road in Idiroko.
On 20th of March 2025, our officers on duty at Outward Baggage Hall while conducting on passenger baggage en route Nigeria to Benin Republic, a bag suspected to be carrying unlawful content was spotted. On thorough examination, it was discovered to contain new mint foreign currency note. Our officers conducted a search on the bag in line with the provision of Section 6 of the Nigerian Customs Service Act 2023 and discovered the bag to be containing foreign currency. On examination, it was discovered to contain 7 million CFA.
Shuaibu said transferring the exhibit to EFCC's custody was part of the service effort at fostering interagency collaboration between Nigerian Customs Service, EFCC, and sister agencies, particularly in line with the policy thrust of the Comptroller General of Customs, Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, while advising residents of border communities to discourage and desist from all acts of smuggling. Shuaibu, however, vowed that the command under his leadership to the strict implementation of federal government fiscal policies and the extant laws that govern the day-to-day operation of the service at the international corridors.
The Nigerian Customs Service, Ogun 1 Area Command, on behalf of the Comptroller General of Customs, Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, MFR, invite the leadership of the FCC and gentlemen of the press to be part of history as we carry out the directives of the Comptroller General of Customs to officially hand over the 7 million CFA to the FCC.
Responding while taking over custody of the exhibit, Ogozi assures that his agency will be conducting a thorough forensic investigation towards uncovering the circumstance surrounding this interception and also ensure that due process is followed.
As a representative of the EFCC to officially take over this cash that was intercepted at our Idiroko border. First and foremost, I would like to commend the area controller, MS Shuaibu, and his men for the vigilance and unwavering commitment to safeguarding our nation borders. Your professionalism and dedication has once again ensured that illicit financial activities do not go unchecked at our borders.
Ogonzi commended the management of the Nigerian Customs Service for their vigilance and commitment towards safeguarding the nation's border, stressing that their dedication has again ensured that illicit financial activities do not go unchecked. From Idiroko in Ogun State, Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV.
In business, the Debt Management Office, DMO, has announced that the federal government of Nigeria has raised 1.09 trillion naira through the sovereign sukuk since its launch in 2017. The funds have been directed towards critical infrastructure projects, including roads and bridges across the country. At an all-parties meeting in Lagos on Wednesday, DMO Director General Patience Oniha revealed that the latest Sukuk series aims to raise 300 billion naira for capital projects. Oniha highlighted that since the launch of the first Sukuk in 2017, more than 4,100 kilometers of roads and 9 bridges have been constructed or rehabilitated across Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The DMO emphasized that these projects have improved access to public services like education, healthcare, and contributing to economic growth. The Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, is ramping up efforts to standardize locally manufactured products, including made-in-Aba brands, to boost marketability and meet global standards. In an interview on Wednesday, Standard Organization's Director General for Southeast Region, Aharanwa Chuks, highlighted the agency's commitment to ensuring Nigerian-made products meet rigorous quality benchmarks through the Mandatory Conformity Assessment Program, MANCAP. This program involves engaging with manufacturers, inspecting production facilities, and testing products against Nigerian industrial standards. Chuks noted that the initiative aims to help local manufacturers elevate their products to international quality levels, particularly for made-in-Aba brands, which are known for their affordability but often face quality perception challenges abroad. The Nigeria Customs Service has begun implementing a zero tax policy on imported pharmaceutical imports for the next 2 years. This move follows the approval of comprehensive guidelines by President Bola Tinubu to exempt import duties and VAT on critical raw materials for pharmaceutical manufacturing. The decision comes nearly a year after a call for urgent action to address rising drug costs or drugflation. In a statement on Wednesday, Customs says the exemption, which covers API's excipients, long-lasting insecticides, nets, diagnostic kits, reagents, and packaging materials, aligns with the President's directives to boost local healthcare manufacturing, reduce production costs, and attract investments. Away from Nigeria, the Sudanese army on Wednesday announced that it had recaptured Khartoum Airport from the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, and secured the facility. The military sources also revealed that the troops had surrounded the RSF's last major stronghold in the Khartoum area, the Jebel Aulia region, from multiple directions. Since the conflict began in April 2023, the Army and RSF have been engaged in intense fighting, with the Army launching a campaign this week to push RSF fighters out of central Khartoum, following a significant victory in retaking the presidential palace on Friday. The RSF had held the airport located just east of the central government district since the war started. In addition, the Army secured both sides of the Manshia Bridge over the Blue Nile, leaving Jebel Aulia Bridge just south of the capital as the last RSF-controlled crossing. Eyewitnesses, activists reported this week that RSF fighters were retreating southward, likely heading towards Jebel Aulia. Still on the foreign news, Nigeria's junta leader, Abdurrahmani Chiani, was on Wednesday sworn in as the country's president for a transition period of 5 years under a new charter that replaces the West African nation's constitution. The move effectively rebuffed attempts by the regional bloc ECOWAS to quicken the return to democracy after a 2023 coup in Niger. The 5-year flexible transition period begins on Wednesday, according to Mahamani Rufai, the Secretary General of the government. He was speaking at a ceremony in the capital, Niamey, where the new transition charter recommended by a recent national conference was approved. Chiani, an Army veteran, was also elevated to the country's highest military rank of Army General, cementing his grip on power since June 2023, when he led soldiers that deposed the country's elected government. The new president will have been in power for about 7 years by the end of the transition period in 2030, following similar patterns of prolonged stints in power in Africa's junta-led countries, including Mali, Guinea, and Burkina Faso. In sports, the Association of Nigeria Women in Sports gained further grounds as the umbrella body that champions the welfare and well-being of former and present sportswomen in Nigeria officially inaugurated its Plateau State chapter. The historic event had the WHO, or rather the who is who from the state sports sector, with the Plateau State Director of Sports, Professor Gonell, playing host. The report.
Nawi's national president, Professor Suleiman, who appreciated the founder of the association, Professor Emeritus Florence Bola Adeyanju's effort to make Nawi stronger, said she's positive that Plateau chapter of Nawi's will showcase the strength of the association's coverage across Nigeria. The inauguration comes after 25 years under national president, Professor Miriam Suleiman of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria.
And the vision of Nawi's, both at the national and state chapter, that I will continue to work for the progress of women and girls in sports, that I will continue to protect their interests, their integrity, and protect the interests of Nawi. Anywhere I find myself, and I will be faithful and committed to the organization. So help me God.
OCAV is in search of a new host for the 2025 Under-20 African Nations Cup Championship. This is because the host, Cote d'Ivoire, has backed out due to lack of funds and government support. The championship meant to select African representatives for the World Under-20 Championship scheduled to hold from 26th April to 18th May. Morocco is a likely destination to host the Under-20 Championship. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
With that, we conclude this Wednesday's edition of News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news. Thank you for watching. I'm Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. Good night.